Hi, this is Jeannie from Metal Dollhouse Rescue. Here I am back in my doll room again, and I've had another busy week. You know, every week's like that, right? But this is going to be part 3 of how to take pictures of your dollhouse if you wanted to replicate walls or provide those to somebody else. And we've already talked about how to take the pictures, and I'll review that at the end of this video. Number 2, we talked about how to transfer them to your laptop from your phone, kind of a shortcut way to do that. And then number 3, we started to actually put that onto a Word document and manipulate the size and the shape and that stuff a little bit. And I've got another point I want to show you on that. And then we're going to kind of wrap this up. I'm going to do a summary of all those steps because there's a lot of steps involved. It's not rocket science, but there are a lot of steps, and I'm going to do a review on that for you. Okay, here we are. Here is our setup. I've got my laptop open with the file that we started, the Word document we were working on. I've got Grandma over here keeping an eye, and then this is the actual wall that we photographed, and I did the inside and the outside of that wall for one of our group members that needs that wall replaced in her house. Now you may recall that the picture I took on the outside, her house is not that color, but Linda has provided us with the correct color of that house, and so I've got it too, and it's going to be red on the top and white on the bottom. So I've got that here too, that I took that picture from Linda. She was good enough to send that in. So this picture I used over here only for example purposes. Now I had to replicate that picture and do the top half on one page and the bottom half on the other because it's just too big to print on one sheet of paper. Same way with the red. We're going to have that one for the top half and that for the bottom half. And then down here you can see there's the picture of the inside of the nursery bedroom wall, and then the inside of the bottom floor, the living room wall that she is missing in her house. I want to say, is that the living room or is that the kitchen? I'd have to look. I think it's the kitchen wall. But at any rate, it's the inside of this, the other side of this right here. Okay, so here we are, and these pictures are pretty good and they are sized right. Now I know they look small on the screen, but do you recall that I told you you can take this bar down here and you slide this over and you make that 110%. You can't see the number, but here there's a percentage, and when you make it 110%, that is life size, and that is how it will print on your paper. So let's make that 110%. Okay. It is now, and this is the red wall, but let's take a look at the other walls. There's the outside of the green and white wall. And I want to show you something on that. So let's bring it back around here. And you can see now that that is going to be like life size. I had one little issue here at the top, and I want to show you how to correct this because it may come in useful for you. Right in here, in this area here and here, my original picture made a shadow of the original tabs. So this is the original tab, and this is an original tab, but these other little bumps are shadows. And when I print this off, I don't want anybody to be confused about that and try to think that, oh, why is there an extra tab there? So I have found a way to get rid of that, to minimize that, and it's pretty easy to do. The very first thing I did is I made a copy of this picture again. I right-click and made a copy and right-click paste, so then I had two that were just like this. Then I cropped the second one down to make it much smaller, and I cropped the area that I wanted to use to fill that in. And those little pictures are in here. And now I'm going to drag those over, and then I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see. There's two of them because there was two little dots. Now they're hard to see because they're, match that background now. But let's make this bigger again so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so now you can sort of see this little gray area here. This is that little picture that I've cropped down. And what I'm going to do now is I crop down like this part, like more in here. And now I'm just going to put that over in the right spot and cover up that little dot. Doesn't have to be very big. So there, now it's the right size. Bring it over here. And that has covered that up. Okay, now there's another one over here. This one over here. We'll get it down into position. We're going to cover up this dot here. So I'm just going to click on that and drag that down. Just line it up. Nobody will ever know it's there. And that will just make that a nice copy. Now you can do that to cover up other imperfections too. If you had like a highlighted area or a reflected area that you didn't like, you might be able to do it there too. Something similar. So again, I replicated the original and then I cropped this down. Now the only thing that you need to know about this that could trip you up if I don't tell you is you see how when I highlight on this, you get this little part in here, it looks like a little rainbow. You have to have that set on tight in order for this to work. And to do that, we're going to click on that box. And now you've got these different options. Well, this one, when you hover over it, it says tight. And you have to click that and make that tight. And what that means is, if I can interpret this right, that means that you're going to allow those two pictures, one of them to lay on top of the other one. Otherwise, the computer will say, no, you don't want those those pictures combined. Well, in fact, we do want them combined. So I had to do that with that one, and I had to do that. Remember, there's one over here too. And you also have to click on your big picture and do that. Now, if you don't see that little black rainbow come up, click on your picture and right click, then come down here on size and position, and you're going to want position. You're going to want, text wrapping, and now you can see those again, and you can see this one here, and I don't know, yeah, you can see that. It says tight. So when you first copy these, I want to say it's set on this one, but you always have to change that to tight if you want to overlap those pictures. And then one more thing you need to do on that is you need to right click on your little picture, and you're going to say bring to front. Otherwise, the computer doesn't know which one you want to see on the front. Well, you want that little one to be in the front. You don't want it to hide behind your big picture. So that's another way that you can manipulate those pictures a little bit. And then there's one more thing that I do on these, and I try to always do it, and I have got it done on here, is I'll insert a shape, a thin rectangle, over here on your raw edges. And when I say your raw edges, in this case I mean the front on the original. Let me get my original here. So this rolled edge, it'll be that, because when you put that house together, that is the part that you're going to see when you look at the dollhouse when you're on the open side of that. And when you print this on paper, you'll just have a raw edge of paper. So I do this little rectangle, and I try to make it the right color to kind of match the picture. In this case, I used gray. And these always have like a little handle on them that you can take them and move them around. See, I can move that little thin rectangle around. But see, without that rectangle, there's like a shadow here from when I took the original picture. So I'm going to cover that shadow up. And then when we print this and that person cuts this out, they'll hopefully remember to leave a little extra paper there in order to fold that around the edge of like a foam core board to cover up the raw edge of the foam core board. And I try to put that on every edge that will be, like visible. So I put one there, and let's look at the other pictures, and I'll show you. I've already added it to the other pictures. And I did that. I came up here to insert. Right here, there's an insert. I'll use my big finger so you can see better. Okay, it's right up here. It says insert. Click on that, and then I inserted a shape. And I inserted a square, and once I got it on there, I elongated it into that long thin rectangle, and then I changed the color of that rectangle. So here you can see one I've done here. This one I've made a rust color right here. I don't know if it's easier to see my big finger or easier to see the mouse moving around there. Let's move this a little bit. Okay, right here it says rust colored rectangle. And I've done that just for the purposes here. I've got a red one on the red one. I've added a red one. Kind of matches then the background. Here I've done kind of an off-white one, or a light peachy colored one, kind of off-white. Try to match the picture. And over here, because of that's that little inside wall, I've done it over here on your screen. It'll be on the left side. And this one's kind of a gray colored. So that's just to help the person when they assemble this to put a little extra paper on there. Here I've got a green one on this wall. So those will be on the original. It's this rolled edge, because you can't get a good picture of that rolled edge. So that's what that is. So when they put it on foam core board, they'll have that little extra rectangle there to fold over to cover up the edge of their foam core board. Okay, so that is like all I want to show you on this stuff. I know you probably have questions. Feel free to message me or comment, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. I am going to do a review of all these steps, so hold just 1 minute and we'll get that done. Okay, here's a summary of the steps we took. First of all, take a picture of the wall that you want to duplicate, or this could be like a door or a window. Make the picture as straight as you can, straight on. You want the camera to be the same level as the item that you're going to be taking a picture. Don't have your camera way too high or way too low. Have it straight on, and try to have it left to right. Have it flat this way, and then also top to bottom. Have your camera flat. You can use the sides of your viewfinder to make it as straight as you can. And you may be able to adjust the picture using your phone camera. I showed you a way to make some adjustments on that to manipulate that picture. Your phone camera may or may not have that feature, but you'll want to look. You want to measure the original wall. Remember, I actually took my measuring tape and I measured that, and I had all those measurements written down so I knew the size of the original wall. You want to adjust your lighting to avoid reflections. Then, if you need to move the pictures from your phone to your laptop or computer, I showed you how to do that. You open your messenger, you find yourself in your messenger list, you attach the pictures that you want to the message, and then you just send those to yourself. Then you come to your laptop or your computer and open up Facebook, open Messenger. Then you can open that message to yourself, and the pictures will be there for you. You've got them easily moved over to your computer. Click on the first picture and save it to your computer. I used File, Save As, and I used a right mouse click button to do that. I like to save these to a folder on my desktop, and I had that folder already set up, ready for this process. Then you're going to open Word. Now, in order to manipulate these pictures, you'll have to use Word. If you have Photoshop, you could do it there, but I do not have that software. So to use Word, insert the pictures into your Word document. You'll want to crop off the extra margins. Remember, I right-clicked and cropped. And then you'll want to adjust your picture to the right size using the white dots on the corner of the picture. You can adjust the size of your screen. Remember how I showed how to do that? Let me move Grandma and I'll show you that place again where you make that change. Right down here, you slide that, and you can make that bigger or smaller on your screen. And when it's 110%, that will make your screen be the actual size as your item. Then you adjust your picture to be the right size, and you can actually measure then using your measuring tape to make sure it is going to be the right size. Change your word margins to narrow so you have a little more room on your paper. To fix imperfections, I made a copy of my picture, cropped it to the part that I wanted to have corrected, and then I just drug that over into place. You'll have to change the alignment. Remember that little black rainbow? Change the alignment to tight on the picture. Both your big picture and then your little adjustment picture both have to have that done. And then bring your correction to the front. I right clicked and I said move to the front. If desired, add a flap to the front edges of your picture. Remember I made that long narrow rectangle and I colored it to kind of match the picture. Then you want to save your document as a PDF so your hard work doesn't get erased. And if you have a PDF, then if you or anybody else opens that file up later, then it won't, that you can't move stuff around and mess up the stuff that you've already worked so hard to have right. Okay, dear friends, if you have hung through all of that with me, you have done a great job, and you're well on your way to having a start to knowing how to do that yourself. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have, and again, thank you for hanging with me on this process. It's just been almost like a class, hasn't it? Well, we can always learn new things. So with that, Grandma and I are both going to say goodbye. Thanks so much for coming to visit us again. Talk to you later.